The notification complete on his buzz was familiar. The aforementioned bell that appeared dozens of business letters' anniversary day. But aback, Adrian Castellano glanced at the awning during his last meeting. He saw an article that fabricated him abeyance mid-sentence. A misnumber, I think, but I'm desperate. My babyish is ailing, and I can't allow the medication. The pharmacy wants 340, and I abandoned acquire 73 re. I apperceive you, said you couldn't advise anymore, but Sarah is errant and afire up with fever. I'm allurement to you, please. Adrian stared at the message. His able accent about third division projections forgotten. About Clear's throat, the appointment table, 15 Admiral waited for him to continue. But his absorption was absolutely on those words. My babyish is sick. Excuse me, Adrian said, continuing abruptly. We'll reconvene in 20 minutes. He labored the allowance to acquire of abashed murmurs and dialed the cardinal that had beatific the message. It rang 4 times afore a woman's articulation, answered asthmatic and stressed. Acknowledge God, I didn't anticipate you'd alarm back. Can you I anticipate you acquire the amiss number? Adrian disconnected gently. But I got your bulletin about your daughter, about the medication. There was a connected blackout then. Oh, God. Oh, no. I'm so sorry. I meant to argument my ex. I charge have. I'm so sorry. Amuse, aloof a knoll that I'm mortified. Wait, Adrian said bound, afore she could adhere up. Your babyish is sick. You charge medication. What pharmacy are you at? I what? Which pharmacy? Adrian repeated, already avaricious as coat. I'm activity to booty affliction of it. You can't aloof. I don't alike apperceive you. I beatific that bulletin by mistake. I know, but your babe is ailing, and you charge help. That's all that matters. Which pharmacy? There was addition abeyance, and Adrian could apprehend a babyish errant in the background. A afflicted chockful complete that tugged at article in his chest. Sullivan's Pharmacy on Maple Street, the woman assuredly said, her articulation breaking. But I can't aloof acquire money from a stranger. That's not, I shouldn't acquire a like beatific that argument to my ex. I was atrocious, and not cerebration clearly. What's your name? Adrian asked, already branched to the elevator. Emma? Emma Reyes? Emma. My name is Adrian. I'm activity to alarm the pharmacy appropriate now, and booty affliction of the prescription. And then, if you're willing, I'd like to accompany buy some things for your daughter. Food, diapers, whatever you need. No strings attached. Aloof, one actuality, allowance another. Why would you do this? Emma asked, bewildered. Adrian anticipation about how to acknowledgement that, as he stepped into the elevator. Because 10 years ago, I was a kid sleeping in my car with my mother. We were abandoned for 8 months. And one night aback, I was sick. Absolutely sick. Allegedly pneumonia. A drifter at a gas base gave my mom money for anesthetic in a cabin room. He said, the aforementioned affair, I'm adage to you now. Aloof, one actuality, allowance another. That drifter allegedly adored my life. I've been attractive for agency to pay that advance any time since. Emma was errant now. I don't apperceive what to say. You don't acquire to say anything. Aloof accord me, bisected an hour. Adrian was 34 years old with a photic beard and the affectionate of Abel. Actualization that came from years in boardrooms and broker meetings. He'd congenital Castellano tech from nothing. A kid with a laptop and an idea axes it into a aggregation annual $200 million. He wore custom apparel and collection a Tesla and lived in an accommodation that disregarded the city. But he'd never abandoned what it acquainted like to be hungry, to be scared. To watch his mother cry because she couldn't allow to accumulate him safe and healthy. In a back opportunities arose to advise others in agnate situations. He never hesitated. 25 annual later, Adrian stood al fresco, a bashful accommodation architecture in a neighborhood. He accustomed as struggling but safe. He agitated several accoutrements from the pharmacy and the grocery store. Not aloof the assigned medication, but children's affliction reliever. A thermometer, Pedialyte, and formula. Additional aliment for an enveloped who allegedly hadn't been bistro while caring for an ailing child. The woman who opened the aperture was in her backward 20s with connected amber beard pulled, a back in a blousy ponytail and burnout accounting beyond her face. She wore an amber cardigan over a simple dress, and there were what looked like spit-up stains on her shoulder. In her arms, she captivated a baby, maybe 6 months old, with red cheeks and burnished eyes, cutting a blaze dejected onesie. "Adrien?" Emma asked, her eyes addition as she took in his appearance. His white accepted shirt and dress pants allegedly amount added than her annual rent. "Emma, hi." Adrien captivated up the bags. "I got the decree and some added things I anticipation ability help. Can I appear in—" Emma stepped back, attractive, overwhelmed. Yes, of course. I'm sorry. The abode is a mess. Sarah's been ailing for 3 canicule, and I've about slept." The accommodation was babyish, but apple pie admitting Emma's apology. There was an apple map on the wall, old and hardly faded, and toys broadcast beyond the floor. A comedy pen stood in one corner, and the couch looked like it had been adapted into a makeshift bed with pillows and blankets. "Please sit down," Emma said, gesturing to the couch. "Can I get you article to drink? Water? Coffee? I'm abashed. That's all I have. I'm fine. Acknowledge you." Adrien set the accoutrements on the coffee table. "How's Sarah doing?" As if in answer, the babyish started crying, a pitiful, chock-full sound. Emma anon started bouncing her gently. Authoritative abatement noises. "She's miserable," Emma said, her own articulation blubbery with tears. "She's had an agitation for 3 days. I took her to the burning affliction dispensary yesterday. I had to put it on a claim card. I'm already maxed out on, and they said it's an ear infection. They assigned antibiotics and agitation reducer. But aback I got to the pharmacy, she trailed off acutely embarrassed." "You didn't acquire abundant to awning it," Adrienne accomplished gently. "I understand. Medical affliction is big ticket alike with insurance." "I don't acquire insurance," Emma admitted. "I absent my job 4 months ago. I was alive as a blaze artist for a babyish business firm, but they went under. I've been accomplishing freelance work, but it's not steady. An adolescent affliction is so big ticket that sometimes I'm about breaking even. Sarah's father, my ex, he was declared to help, but he confused to addition accompaniment and chock-full answering my calls. I anticipation maybe if I texted him about Sarah actuality sick, he'd affliction abundant to help, but I assumption I typed the cardinal wrong." And she laughed, but it was a burst sound. "And you've got my atrocious bulletin instead." "I'm animated I did," Adrien said. "Here, let me appearance you what I got." He pulled out the decree medication first, afresh the added items. Emma's eyes abounding with tears aback, she saw how abundant he'd brought. "This is too much," she whispered. "I can't possibly acquire all this." "Yes, you can," Adrien said firmly. "Emma, your babe is sick. You're struggling. Let me help. That's all this is. Help. No judgment, no strings. Aloof help." Emma sat bottomward on the couch, still captivation Sarah, and started errant, in earnest. "I've been aggravating so adamantine to do this, abandoned to prove I could handle it, but I'm drowning. Every age as it gets harder. I'm abaft on rent. I've been bistro 1 meal a day so I can allow formula. I awash best of my furniture. My laptop aggregate I could sell, and it's still not enough. I accumulate cerebration about what happens if we get evicted. Area would we go? I don't acquire family. Sarah's ancestor is gone. I've been so scared." Adrien acquainted article able in his chest. "This could acquire been his mother decades ago. This could acquire been him. And his mom atrocious and alone. You're not abandoned anymore," he said quietly. "I'd like to advise you, Emma. Not aloof today, but ongoing. I appetite to accomplish abiding you and Sarah are okay." Emma looked up at him, her eyes red from crying. "Why? You don't alike apperceive me. I beatific you one, a misargument message." "Maybe it wasn't wrong," Adrien said. "Maybe it was absolutely right. Maybe the cosmos knew you bear advice, and put that bulletin in advance of addition who could accommodate it. I don't accept in the cosmos accomplishing things like that, Emma said. Neither did I until about an hour ago, Adrian admitted. Over the abutting hour, Adrian abstruse added about Emma's situation. She'd gotten abundant at 28 during what she'd anticipation was a austere relationship. Aback, she'd told her boyfriend he'd concluded things and fabricated it ablaze he'd capital annihilation to do with the baby. Emma's parents had anesthetized abroad years beforehand in a car accident, and she had no siblings, no abutting family. She'd been managing on her own until the aggregation she formed for collapsed, demography her abiding assets with it. I'm not attractive for a handout, Emma said firmly, like as she gave Sarah the assigned medication with accessible relief. I'm capable. I'm skilled. I aloof, charge a break, a chance. Time to get it back on my feet. I accept you, Adrian said. And I anticipate I ability be able to advise with that too. My aggregation is consistently attractive for accomplished designers. What's your background? Emma's eyes widened. Your company? What affectionate of company? Tech, software, apps, web development, Castellano Tech. Maybe you've heard of it. Emma's jaw absolutely dropped. Castellano Tech. You're Adrian Castellano. Oh my God, I interviewed with your aggregation 2 years ago for a chief artist position. Now it was Adrian's about-face to be surprised. You did? I didn't get the job. They said I was talented, but they went with addition with added experience. Emma laughed, a hardly agitated sound. I'm sitting actuality in my falling afar accommodation, accepting alms from a stranger. And that drifter is a CEO I already interviewed with. This is surreal. Who did you annual with? Adrian asked. Marcus Chen. He was the artistic administrator at the time. Marcus does an assignment for me anymore. Adrian said he larbored 6 months ago to Alpha, his own firm. We acquire a new artistic administrator now, Jennifer Park. She's excellent, and she's been attractive for chief designers. If you're interested, I could align an interview. An annual I'd abandon, be accepting because you feel apologetic for me, Emma said. And there was aching in her voice. No, Adrian said firmly. An annual you'd be accepting because you're able and we acquire an opening. What happens in that annual is absolutely up to you and Jennifer. I won't interfere. I won't acquaint her about our connection. She appraise you on your portfolio and your abilities alone. Fair. Emma looked at him for a connected moment, a fresh bottomward at Sarah, who was assuredly starting to settle. The anesthetic Alpha to work. Fair, she assuredly said. But I charge to be ablaze about something. I'm grateful. So beholden I can't alike accurate it properly. But I won't be someone's alms project. I won't be the poor distinct mom you rescued. If I annual with your company, it has to be real. And if this, she gestured amid them. Whatever this is, if it's activity to be anything, it has to be real too. Not you activity apologetic for me. I don't feel apologetic for you, Adrian said. I feel annual for you. You're adopting an adolescent alone, accomplishing whatever it takes to survive. That's not article to pity. That's article to admire. Emma smiled. A babyish smile, but the aboriginal 18-carat one, Adrienne, had apparent from her. Okay then, yes. I'd like to interview. Good. I'll acquire Jennifer ability out to you a budding week. In the meantime, Adrian pulled out his phone. I'm activity to alteration some money to your annual tawaning this month's hire and groceries. And afore you argue, exceed it a accommodation, if that makes you added comfortable. You can pay me it back already, you're on your feet. How abundant are you activity to transfer? Emma asked wearily. Abundant so you can stop annoying about boot and eat added than 1 meal a day, Adrian said. Emma, I acquire added money that I could absorb in 10 lifetimes. Letting some of it advise you and Sarah isn't charity. It's aloof-activated ability allocation. You accomplish allowance bodies, complete like a business decision. Emma said, everything I do is afflicted by business thinking, Adrian admitted. But this is personal. This is canonizing what it acquainted like to be the actuality who bear advice and allotment, to be the actuality who provides it. Emma gave him her coffer information. Still attractive, uncomfortable, but additionally relieved. Aback, Adrian transferred $5,000, abundant to awning rent, food, utilities, and medical bills with some cushion. Emma absolutely gasped. Adrian, that's too much. That's way too much. It's absolutely enough, Adrian said. Trust me. He backward for addition hour. Allowance. Emma accord Sarah a bath, which the babyish hated, but which helped with the fever. And assuming her how to use the thermometer he'd brought, he fabricated Emma banquet from the advantage he'd purchased, aloof, a simple pasta dish. But Emma ate like she hadn't had an appropriate meal in weeks, which she allegedly hadn't. Before he left, Adrian wrote his claimed cardinal on an allotment of paper. Alarm me if you charge anything. And I beggarly anything, Emma. Medical emergency. Car breakdown. You're accepting a bad day and charged to allocution to someone. I beggarly it. Why are you accomplishing this? Emma asked again. Really? Adrian looked at Sarah, sleeping affably now in her playpen, her agitation assuredly broken. Because Cypher should acquire to face the apple alone. Because your babe deserves to abound up with aliment and accommodation and medical care. Because you deserve not to be drowning. And because I can help, so I should. I anticipate you ability be the kindest actuality I've any time met, Emma said softly. I've had a lot of advice accepting area I am, Adrian said. This is aloof me, accidental it along. Over the afterward weeks, Adrian backward and blow with Emma. He arrested on Sarah's recovery. She bounced back quickly. Already the antibiotics kicked in. He beatific Jennifer Esplanade Emma's portfolio afterwards. Absolute their connection. In a back, Emma aced the annual and was offered a chief artist position with a bacon that would calmly abutment her and Sarah. Adrian acquainted a achievement that was altered from any business success he'd any time achieved. I got it. Emma alleged to acquaint him, her articulation ablaze with joy. They offered me the job, and Adrian. Jennifer said it was absolutely based on my portfolio. She said she doesn't alike apperceive how I concluded up in their applicant basin that I charge acquire activated through their website. She doesn't apperceive about you. That's because I kept my word, Adrian said. You becoming that position, Emma? I aloof opened a door. You absolved through it. Can I buy you banquet to say acknowledge you? Emma asked. I apperceive it's allegedly unspiring accustomed the circumstances, but I'd like to acknowledge you properly. You don't owe me thanks, Adrian said. But yes, I'd like to acquire banquet with you. They met at a bashful Italian restaurant in Emma's neighborhood. Emma had a biting for her neighbor, an aged woman called Mrs. Chen, who allegedly adored Sarah, to babysit. She wore a simple, dejected dress, and had styled her beard in apart waves. In Adrian anticipation, she looked beautiful. You apple pie up nice, Emma said with a smile. Aback, she saw him in jeans and accepted instead of his accepted suit. I wasn't abiding CEO's endemic accidental clothes. I acquire one brace of jeans, Adrian admitted. I bought them accurately for tonight. I had an appetite to alarm you with a suit. Emma laughed. A absolute laugh, abounding and warm. You're a awe-inspiring billionaire. Millionaire, Adrian corrected. Not absolutely billionaire yet, admitting we're alive on it. Over dinner, they talked about aggregate and nothing. Emma told him about her activity afore Sarah, her dreams of actuality a designer, her parents who died too young. Adrian told her about his childhood, his years in advance affliction afterwards, his mother died. The ancestors who'd eventually adopted him and accustomed him stability. So, you absolutely were homeless, Emma said. That wasn't aloof, an adventure to accomplish me feel better. It was real, Adrian confirmed. 8 months in a car. Afresh, my mom died, and I went into the system. I bounced about until I was 16 and back the Castanos adopted me. They gave me everything. Stability, education, acceptance in my potential. I owe them everything. Are they still around? Emma asked. My ancestor anesthetized abroad 5 years ago. Heart attack. My mother's in a affliction facility, aboriginal onset. Alzheimer's. I appointment her alert a week, admitting she doesn't consistently bethink who I am anymore. I'm sorry, Emma said, extensive beyond the table to blow his hand. The acquaintance beatific more through Adrian's arm. We booty what time we have, Adrian said. That's all any of us can do. They connected a fare for dinner, coffee, weekend outings to the Esplanade with Sarah. Slowly, carefully, a chord deepened into Article more. Adrian fell for Emma's strength, her determination, her angry adulation for her daughter. Emma fell for Adrian's kindness. His abasement admitting his success, the way he looked at Sarah like she was precious. 3 months afterwards, that aboriginal, a Miss Cardinal text. Adrian stood in Emma's apartment, the aforementioned apartment, admitting it looked altered now with new appliance and beginning acrylic and toys that weren't beat or broken. Sarah, now 9 months old, was arena on the floor, babbling happily. She's walking, Adrian said, watching Sarah curl herself up on the couch. Almost, Emma said proudly. Any day now. The pediatrician says she's advanced of all her milestones. She's advantageous and blessed and advancing like her mother, Adrian observed. Emma smiled. I am thriving. The job is amazing. I'm authoritative, abundant to save money for the Aboriginal time and years. Sarah has aggregates she needs. We're accomplishing well. I'm glad, Adrian said, and afresh because he couldn't delay any longer. Emma, I charge to acquaint you something. That sounds ominous, Emma said, but she was smiling. It's not ominous. It's aloof. I've collapsed in adulation with you, with both of you. Somewhere amid that Aboriginal afraid argument, bulletin, and now you've become the best important bodies in my activity, and I bear you to apperceive that. Emma's smile widened. Good, because I've collapsed in adulation with you too. I've been aggravating to amount out how to acquaint you afterwards, it appearing like acknowledgement or obligation or some affectionate of debt repayment. And Adrian prompted, and afresh I accomplished, it doesn't amount how it looks to anyone else. What affairs is that it's real. What we acquire is real. It started with a Miss Cardinal text, but it grew into Article True. I adulation you, Adrian. Not because you helped me aback, I was desperate. Not because you got me a job, but because of who you are. Kind, genuine, present. You appearance up. Not aloof for me, but for Sarah. You've become allotment of our family. Adrian pulled her a budding and kissed her. A bendable kiss that acquainted like advancing home. Sarah chose that moment to booty her Aboriginal abandoned steps. Lurching advanced and landing in Adrian's accoutrements with a captivated shriek. Did you see that? Emma exclaimed. She absolved her Aboriginal accomplice appropriate into my arms. Adrian said, his articulation blubbery with affect as he held the babyish babe who'd become his babe in all but name. That feels about right. A year later, Adrian proposed to Emma in that aforementioned apartment. The abode area their adventure had begun. Area heat Aboriginal brought anesthetic and advantage and hope. Sarah, now about to, was their ring-bearer, toddling advanced with the babyish box afraid in her ample hands. A year and a bisected ago. You beatific me a bulletin by mistake, Adrian said, as he knelt afore Emma. But Emma, I don't anticipate annihilation that brought us calm was a mistake. I anticipate the cosmos knew absolutely what it was accomplishing aback. It put your bulletin in advance to me. You've accustomed me a family. You've apparent me what it agency to body article absolute with someone. You've let me adulation, Beau.